BookTubers, that's a tune called the Humnabo Polka from Shetland. And I thought I'd respond to this tag. Nobody's asked me to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. About how do you see your role as a booktuber? Well, I'm very new to this booktubing lark. But how do you view your role as a booktuber? Examples might be as a critic, a curator, an influencer, an entertainer, an educator, etc. Well, for me, it's just I'm not a professional or anything. I've never been a teacher or actually, yeah, I did train as a librarian when I think about it. I spent all my life doing other things, playing music really, but yeah, I did train as a librarian, so I suppose I've got a bit of a background in that, but I've never been a teacher or anything. I'm not a critic or anything in that. It's simply a way of sharing enthusiasms with other people who I've seen. That's why I sort of got into it. Other people doing these kind of videos, and there's something about the sort of popular taste in reading and literature that is a little bit unusual, because if you read London Review of Books, which I do, I subscribe to that. It's mainly fairly serious kind of stuff, and a lot of general readers aren't reading these big hefty novels. There's a lot of genre fiction and all that is popular with people, so it's nice to hear about that. So anyway, it's sharing things and finding out about writers and books that I've not come across before and not heard of. Oh, do you have any educational background in literature or literary criticism, either formal or self-directed? Well, I've got a master's degree in Victorian studies, which included a lot of reading of Victorian novels and things like that. And I have read a lot of those kind of books. I said it before somewhere on another video. I've read all Dickens, I've read all Thomas Hardy. I think I've read all George Eliot's books. And you know, various of these sort of, sometimes Henry James called them loose baggy monsters. But a lot of those kind of books. Yeah, so I've done a bit of that, I suppose. Do you typically do any research on either the book or the author before you review a book? I don't really review books. I mean, I talk about them, I suppose that's reviewing in a sense. But I said something about Middlemarch in the talking about the Guardian's 100 best novels. I've read that a few times because I studied that, but I couldn't really remember. And so I did read up a little bit, and I'm glad I did, because I didn't realise it was written in 1871. I knew it was set just after the 1832 Reform Bill, but I didn't realise it was a good 40 years afterwards when she wrote it. It took her a long time to write, but so that was worthwhile. Otherwise, I would, you know, slip up and making assumptions and saying things that that a little bit of Googling could save you from falling into some misapprehension. So I would normally, if I was going to say something, yeah, it's good to find out a little bit at least. Do you focus your reviews more on the objective qualities of a book or more on your subjective opinions about it? Well, they both come together, don't they? I think most of us would take both into account. You might admire a book for the quality of the writing, and yet not like it. You don't find maybe the storyline you don't find appealing or whatever. So then you would, but both things come together, obviously, don't they? Have you ever received a free book or advanced reader copy from the author? And if so, did it have any impact on your ability to honestly review the book? As I say, I'm not a book reviewer or anything, but I have reviewed a few books for, a friend of mine has written a couple of books, and he gave me, the first one, he gave me a copy of it to review. I'm actually mentioned in the book. So it's totally corrupt and compromised the review. It was about an Irish Music Association, Cultus Céiltóirí, an Irish Music Association in Leeds, and so I reviewed that. But I gave it an honest review. I mean, I did say what I thought about it, but it was a positive review. I wouldn't have been influenced by I don't think. But anyway, I liked it. The fact that I was mentioned in it is neither here nor there, obviously. And then he wrote another one so I knew a bit about that, but he wrote another one where I had no involvement whatsoever, which is about gardening. I don't know anything about gardening. So at least there I had to, I read it as a lay person who doesn't know anything about the subject, which I don't. And so, I gave it as thoughtful a review as I possibly could. So is a person of ignorance, i.e. me, helped by this how-to book about gardening? And I was, so that was good. Have I ever received any? Oh yeah, a friend of mine wrote a novel as well, and recently, and I think I might have reviewed that. He didn't ask me to review it, but I did somewhere or other, just on Facebook, I think. Yeah, that was last year, or this year even, last year, yeah. So I'm totally corrupt. I have been compromised. I've been bought and sold. Do you review every book you read? Are there any days you might read a book but choose not to review? Well, I never used to review books I read until I came onto BookTube, and now it's changed my attitude. Now when I read a book, I say, can I say anything about this and make a video about it? That's the way you get, I suppose, when you do this. So it's quite interesting. You think about it a bit more. I mean, I never ever used to review books that I read. Of course, nobody's interested in my opinions. I'm not a professional reviewer, and occasionally I would put something on Facebook if I really read an amazing book. Before I joined BookTube, I read all the Canterbury Tales. That was only in April, actually. So I was so proud of having read all this in Middle English that I did a review on Facebook. I just put it on Facebook. It's here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. But that was interesting to do. But normally I wouldn't have bothered with that. Except for now, I probably will. How do you feel about the fact that many people now primarily consume book reviews by hobbyists on BookTube rather than professional critics? Well, I think, like I said before, a lot of the books that the ordinary public read are not reviewed that much, are they? Sort of crime fiction and that kind of thing, it doesn't really get reviewed, but that is often, and thrillers, that sort of thing, they don't really get reviewed in the Times Literary Supplement that much. They do a bit, but a lot of the time people are left to their own devices with those kind of books. So you're probably more likely to get a review on BookTube. I know what the whole thrust of this is that reviewers are disappearing, or the outlets for book reviews are disappearing. But I'm in the UK and we still have quite a few review periodicals, such as the London Review of Books, which I do subscribe to, and the TLS, which I like, but I don't subscribe, but I read it occasionally. And there's the Literary Review, as I can't even say it, Literary Review, as well, and various other things. One of my favourite places to read reviews is Private Eye, because they pull no punches, and they're anonymous, and they often take sacred cows, if you like, of the literary world and absolutely tear them to shreds, and it's very amusing. As long as you are not that person, which I am not. So yeah, Private Eye's reviews. I sometimes buy Private Eye just for the book reviews. It's only like 2 pages in the whole thing. It's a satirical magazine for those who've not heard of it. Very satirical. They do a thing. They do a series of book reviews called Log Rolling, where they uncover where pals in the literary firmament have puffed up each other's books, and they search all that out. I think that's really good, but it makes you very suspicious of the high flyers of the literary world. They're all it's a little elite club that you're not part of. You're not invited. And yeah, so there we are. That's about, I think that's all the questions, isn't it, really? Yeah. I think the word hobbyists is a little bit derogatory. Hobbyists as opposed to professionals. I know some of the reviews in the London Review of Books are really exhaustive and, very well written, obviously, and they go into immense detail. Sometimes about books you couldn't care less about, actually, but I have occasionally been persuaded to buy a book from there. But the hobbyists idea, I don't know. You see, who is it who reads books for pleasure? Is it critics? I don't think they do. They read a book with a notebook by the side, writing down comments and criticisms. But are they enjoying the book? Well, they might be, I suppose. But the general public don't read that way. Well, I don't anyway. I don't have a piece of paper by my side. I don't need to comment on a book. If I can't remember it, that says something about the book. And if it moves me in some way, I'll remember it. So it's as good as that. But hobbyists, it sounds, what's a hobby? It's something you do in your spare time and is on the side, as you might say. Anyway, there we go. I'll finish off with a tune from the 17th century. It's called Portsmouth. Somebody had a hit with this in the 1970s, but it's from 1651. Who was it who did Tubular Bells? It was that guy. He did a version of it. It was horrible. Anyway, I hope this isn't horrible. Portsmouth. Thank you very much.